Thank you for being with me on this day. Praise the Lord for the opportunity for being here. Um, Generally, I do this on YouTube and then I bring it over to Facebook. And I'm finishing Genesis chapter. I want to finish up through the book of Genesis, but right now I'm on to chapter 35. Lord willing, we'll read through Genesis 35 through to Genesis chapter 39. So bear with me on the pronunciations if it's not up to your likings. But I'll do it the best way that I know how. So, and I pray that all is doing well. And if you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, it's always best to get life insurance and to ask Him to your heart. Because without Jesus Christ, hell's reality. Only way we get to the new heaven and new earth is by Him and through Him, not of ourselves. So, Genesis 35, I'll start. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make thee an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them. And they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak. And the name of it was called Allon Bachoth. And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. That's a very important part, because earlier when God had wrestled with Jacob, and Jacob wouldn't let him go unless he was given a blessing, and the blessing was Israel. And Israel, as we learn as we go on, is not just the name, but it's the nation comes through him. And God is confirming it here, and he confirms it a little bit later on in the book. But he lets them know in Genesis 35:10, and this is pinnacle. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. So we have to recognize at that time, even when we go into the book of Exodus, which confirms it, when God is speaking to Moses, he is saying that God doesn't reveal himself to his people, but at that time by the name of the father of Abraham, the father of Isaac, and the father of Jacob. They don't use Esau. They don't use all the other children of Abraham. They use these specific names. God said the seed will come through Abraham. It came from Abraham to Isaac and Jacob. From Jacob, out of his many children, he had 12 of his sons. From those 12 sons came what? They came the tribes of Israel. And those are the ones which was of his family at that time, which we'll learn later on in Genesis. The 66, and then 4 is already over there. Joseph and his wife and his 2 kids go up to Egypt. So 70 to go up to Egypt. Not the rest of the clan of Abraham. Not that God didn't bless them. But we have to understand where Israel starts. And from Israel comes Christianity. All right, so we have to understand that, which is very important, because then when they go up to Egypt, they're there for 420, 430 years, and from there, when they leave, we have 70 people. When they leave, it's over a 500,000 people that comes up there, that leaves from Egypt. So I'll finish reading. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he had talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering therein, and he poured oil therein. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni. But his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edor. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel was Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padanaram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father, and to Mamre, and to the city of Abra, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost, and died, and was gathered into his people, being old and full of days. And the sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Genesis 34. Now these are the generations of Esau, who was Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughter of Canaan, Adal, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Meholabama, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebajoth. And Ada bare to Esau Elphath, and Basemath bare Reuel, and Ahobama bare Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau which were born into him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of his house and his cattle and all his beasts and his substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For the riches were more than they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thou dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the name of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau. Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz was Teman, and Omar, and Zepho, and Gadam, and Kenaz. and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. And these were the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Reuel, Nahath, and Zerah, and Shema, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Ehobamah, the daughter of Anah, the sons of Zibeon, and Esau's wife. And she bare to Esau Joash, and Jalem, and Korah. These were dukes of the sons of Esau, the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Sepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came to Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Ada. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shema, Duke Mizar. These are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife, Duke Joash, Duke Jalam, Duke Kara. These were the dukes that came into Aholibaram, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, which is Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishan. These are the dukes of the Horite, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Horah and Heman, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these: Alvan and Manahath and Ebal and Shepho and Anam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajar and Anan. This was that Anah that found the mules of the wilderness in the wilderness, and he fled, and he fed the asses of Zibeon, his father. And the children of Anan were these: Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anan. And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdan, and Hishban, and Ithran, and Sharon. The children of Ezer are these: Belhan and Zaban and Akron. The children of Jishran are these: Uz and Aran. And these are the dukes that came of the Herites: Duke Latan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anan, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Harai among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. Verse 31 is very critical in understanding. They say the first four books of the Bible was written by Moses. But if you look at that Bible verse right there in verse 31, it's a person that God used to write that book had knowledge of the kings of Israel before it was even. So the question would be is, was Moses there at the writing? Did he know that the kings, when they're talking about the dukes, was he aware that the dukes were there prior to for the first king? The first king was Saul, and Moses was around at that time. So with that said, it doesn't really matter who wrote the first four books of the Bible, because God orchestrated everything. But keep that in mind when man says this is who wrote this part of the Bible and who wrote that part of the Bible. Unless it's in God's word, unless it's there, nothing is solidified. It's taken for food for thought. But in Genesis chapter 34, we're on verse 32. And Bela the son of Beor reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab the son of Zerah of Basra reigned in his stead, and Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temanian reigned in his stead, and Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Simlah of Mashrekah reigned in his stead, and Simlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead, and Saul died, and Belhanan the son of Akbor reigned in his stead, and Belhanan the son of Akbor died, and Hadar reigned in his stead, and the name of the city was Paul, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, the daughter of Madred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau according to their families after their places by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Elva, Duke Jethath, Duke Ebhobamah, Duke Elah, Duke Penin, Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Midzar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Aram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their inhabitants, according to their habitations in the land of their possessions. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. So God has a place for Esau in the Bible. That's the last part I say, because he does, and that's Genesis chapter 36. Genesis 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with its brethren, and the lad was the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zapha, his father's wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about and made obstinance to my sheaf. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream. And he told his brethren and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and 11 stars made obstinance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Should I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee, to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto thee. And he said unto him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vow of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field, and a man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And he said, and the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near to them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say, Some evil beast have devoured him. And we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was coming to his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead, with their camels bearing spicery and palm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And the Ishmaelites come from Ishmael, which is the firstborn of Abraham. You see, so they're offspring of each other in that region. And keep that in mind, when they come back to the promised land, you're going to have the Canaanites, and you're going to have a lot of other people in that region are still going to be in that region when they come back some 400 and something years later. But as we finish in Genesis chapter 37, 26 says, And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brethren and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they set the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It's my son's coat. An evil beast had devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, For I will go down into the grave until my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt, into Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard. If you want to learn a little bit more in detail, what Joseph was actually, feet was in fetters, he was in shambles. You go to Psalms chapter 105. It speaks of that. That's the thing about God's word. We'll read it, we'll get an understanding, and he has other areas in the Bible that will give us some. It'll paint the picture a little bit more for us. So in Genesis, and that's Psalms chapter 105. It's about 40-something verses, but there's a few verses in there that's really meaty. So Genesis 38 says, And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite, whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shewal. And he took her and went in unto her. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Shizab when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord slew him. And Judah said to Onan, go in into my brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in into his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in his father's house. And in the process of time, the daughter of Sheol, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up into his sheep shearers to Timnath, he and his friend Hirah the Adulamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear sheep. And she put the widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in the open place, which is by the way of Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, because she had conceived, she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And he said, what wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will give thee a kid from the flock. And he said, what wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, thy signet, and thy bracelets, and thy staff, and thy hand. He gave it to her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, let her take it to her. Let her take it to her, lest we be ashamed. Behold, I sent this kid, that thou hast not found her. And it came to pass after 3 months after, that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, has played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth, and let her be burnt. When she went forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whom these are, am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray thee, whom's are these, the signet and bracelet and staff? And Judah acknowledged them and said, she has been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he gave her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of Javel, that behold, twins were born in her womb. And it came to pass, when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound into his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out. And she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez. And afterward came out his brother, that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. So we're going to read our last chapter for today, which is Genesis chapter 39. And then moving forward, if you choose to, you can come to my name and YouTube, and it'll be there, or I'll post it up to Genesis chapter 50. But to be honest about it, I have to have the voice to read through 5 chapters out loud as I talk all day at work, and then I preach 3 times a week. Genesis 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which have brought him down thither. And the Lord, this is like a soap opera. Chapter 39 really continues from chapter 37. And chapter 38 just jumps in there and tells us a little bit about coloring the picture about what's going on. And this ad is setting the scene for not just now, but for other things that's taking place in the Bible. So sometimes we're reading through the Bible. It's like a series that's going on. And it's good to understand also Genesis, because Genesis is the foundation for Christianity. You know, it's not just the Israel, but it's for Christianity, because we come through there and we need to know where it starts. That way we understand, you know, how it's freely given to everybody, you know. But I'll go back and now Genesis chapter 39 verses 2. And I'll just read through. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house. And all that he had, he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's house, and he knew not aught he had save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wanteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass after this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there were none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of the house and spake unto them, saying, See, he has brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she led up his garment by her until his Lord came home, and spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him to the prison, in a place where the king's prisons were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, it was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison took not to anything that was under his hand. because the Lord was with him. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that